Greetings, my name is Hazel Adam Shango, and I am the founder and CEO of BeingSpecialNYC.com, an independent information and resource service for New York City public and charter school parents. The name of this presentation, 2015 New Year, New Agenda Parent To-Do List, was chosen because oftentimes as we begin a new year, we have tasks and items that we'd like to complete during the next 12 months. And certainly if you're working with your children, whether they have general or special education needs, you always kind of need a reminder of next steps and what you can do to assist your child and to become a more effective parent advocate. On our agenda are appointments. As for me, I know that we're in a highly technological society and everyone's keeping their calendar on their Android or iOS phone. I still maintain a paper calendar, a handwritten calendar in my home, and I also carry one along with me just so I can have that at a glance in case I've forgotten my phone or I don't have Wi-Fi service in a particular area where I am throughout the city. Make sure that you make or schedule a pediatric or developmental pediatrician visit for your child. If your child has been identified with special needs prior to the age of 21, then you want to make sure that somehow you contact a developmental pediatrician so that they can examine your child and perhaps pick up on some of the developmental issues that your child may be experiencing that the general pediatrician has not observed. You can usually look in your directory for your health insurance providers to find a pediatrician who has special training in studying child development. It's also a time where you could make an appointment to have an independent teacher conference. And when I say independent, I'm referring to the fact that we've already gone through probably 1 or 2 parent-teacher conferences this school year already, but sometimes you just need a little bit more time than the 10 or 15 minutes that they give you during the parent-teacher conference nights to discuss with a teacher in a particular subject matter that your child may be having some challenges with, so that you can get a handle on what you really need to do in order to ensure that your child passes the course by the end of June and that things will run smoothly for your child. A vision exam is always key. Also, a hearing exam. Hearing exams are something that we tend to place on the side. If they're not offered as a screening at your child's school, you should definitely have your child's hearing checked every 2 to 3 years. And of course, if your child is between the ages of 5 and 11, you may want to make that every 2 years. The kids are wearing the headphones now. We allow them to listen to music at very loud volumes, and you'd be surprised how many issues with hearing children actually are developing now because of the way we use the technology. Also, a dental exam. Children should be seen by a dentist every 6 months. And you could have a cleaning annually or every 6 months. It just depends on what your dentist is recommending for your child. There are also specialized dentists who work with children who may have physical or other challenges that may require that the children are actually sedated while the dental work is going on. And finally, you always annually want to have a good set of blood work done on your child to make sure that their immune system is functioning appropriately and that all things are working well systemically for your child. Next on the list to do, the Individualized Education Program for you parents who have children with special needs who are school age. between the ages of 5 and 21, you'll have an individualized education program if your child was approved for special education services or related services such as physical therapy, speech therapy, or occupational therapy. The Individualized Education Program, or IEP, is reviewed annually once it has been set in place. You need to check the date of your annual review. It's usually exactly 12 months or within that same month of the prior review. For example, if your child's last annual IEP review was January 13th, 2014, you should have had that review by today, January 13th, 2015. Also, you want to check the date of the 3-year mandated reevaluation. In accordance with the federal law which governs special education, IDEA, Individual with Disabilities Education Act, every 3 years from the initial IEP, there is a mandated reevaluation. Currently, many school districts may not retest your child, say with the IQ testing or the educational testing. They may just decide to use the report cards and the teacher's reports. However, if your child has been diagnosed with a specific learning disability, I would encourage that you ask for formal retesting during the 3-year mandated reevaluation period. The date of the last educational testing. So, if you're going through a series of annual reviews and it's been a couple of years, you always want to make sure that you keep a notebook or a folder, some type of log that writes down all the dates of the last testing your child has received formally in regards to their IEP. That would include the date of the last psychological testing. Sometimes the educational and psychological test results appear in the same evaluation. Sometimes they're evaluated separately. And the date of the last speech and language evaluation. That would also go for your child's last occupational therapy evaluation or physical therapy evaluation. Correspondence. Now, all during the school year and when my children were in school, I always wanted to make sure that I reached out to each one of their teachers individually so that they would know that I am available. I continue to be available to them. They can contact me at any time. When I was working really long hours, I made sure that I just kind of made them aware. Here's my number at work. Here's my number at home. Here's my cell phone number. Best to reach me by email. So you might want to send a letter or email to each of your child's teachers, just wishing them a happy new year, letting them know that you're here, you're available, and that you're still open to working with them the remainder of the school year. Send a letter or email to the parent coordinator at your child's school. If your child is in a New York or attends a New York City public school or charter school, there's a parent coordinator or a coordinator of parent events or parent activities, and you want to make sure that you have a line of communication with them, because they generally are right there on the front line and know the different changes that are going to occur at the school, or they're aware of different events that are going to be held. And it's just good to have a familiarity with the parent coordinator at your child's school. And another idea for correspondence is to have your child, the student, send a greeting card to their favorite teacher, just letting them know that they really appreciate what they're learning or that they're having fun in their class, that kind of thing. Even though there is an Educator Appreciation Day, I think it's sometime in the spring, it's always good to know from a teacher's perspective that children are, and your students are, enjoying what you're offering them during the school day and that you're enriching their lives. Projects. I always have special projects that I've worked on during the school year when my kids were in New York City public schools. I always made sure that I read one book about my child's diagnosis or condition, My eldest son was diagnosed with a specific learning disability in math. My middle son, specific learning disability in reading, dyslexia, and my daughter received speech and language services for a number of years. So I'm just always reading. You have the computer now, you can Google things, but I'm always reading articles or books. I'd go to Barnes and Nobles and just purchase a book. I guess now people use Nook and they're reading online, but you should read something that's relevant to what the in quote professionals are saying about your child's diagnosis, or even read some literature on child development. We think once we've had one or two children that we know everything or that we remember, but each child is an individual and they do develop differently, and we need to remind ourselves and continually re-educate ourselves about child development issues. Also, contact one community-based organization about summer programs. Even though it's January, believe me, people are already having summer camp fairs and there's pre-registration for summer programs. And for the high school students, there's some applications processes that begin in January for summer internships, whether it be paid or unpaid, and special programs that are affiliated with colleges and universities. Also, it's about this time in January, I guess it's the spring cleaning that I do. You could purchase a binder and organize your child's IEPs, evaluations, and report cards. You'd be surprised how many professionals actually call on you for those documents when you're going through an independent evaluation process or you're applying for a special program. So it's really helpful if at least you have the last 2 years of your child's report cards, any evaluations, any awards, just in a binder. Some parents even like to buy the individual plastic covers that have the 3 rings punched already, and they just keep them in the binder. And of course, don't forget to relax while you're working on all these things. When you're reading the book, have a cup of coffee or tea. When you're putting things in the binder, maybe if your child's old enough, get them to help you. But just take it step by step, day by day. Don't get overwhelmed, and just do a little work on all your projects, one day at a time, 1 week at a time. Miscellaneous tasks. There are always those little tasks that we're always intending to do this particular school year, and we still haven't gotten to them by the time we get to January. Definitely try to attend at least 3 PA or PTA, that's the Parent Association or Parent Teacher Association, or a New York City Department of Education workshop or meeting in 2015. It's really important to touch base. It's after work sometimes and you've worked long hours and you're kind of tired, but even if you go and you stay for half an hour just to get the update and a copy of the agenda, it's a good deal. Make sure that you pay your 2015 Parent Association or Parent Teacher Association dues or donation. That was something that I'd come to the September PTA meeting and then I wouldn't show up October, November. I'd have the envelope at home waiting to send it back to school. But the PTA and the PA need your support, your financial support. If it's $5, if it's $50. In some schools it's $500 that parents like to donate per year, sometimes at the high school level. But whatever level your school covers, they're always going to need extra funding, especially the Parents Association. I always send extra Xerox paper to 1 or 2 of the classroom teachers. And this especially happened when my youngest was in high school over the last 3 years. In fact, I went online to Staples. I purchased a whole box that had probably about 8 or 10 reams of paper in it, and I sent it to one of the counselors at her school because they're always Xeroxing things. Sometimes it seems like there's never enough paper in their office to do certain things or in their classroom. So I always try to give, even if it's 1 ream, I try to buy a ream of paper and just donate it to 1 or 2 of the classroom teachers. And of course, you can't forget to attend a BeingSpecialNYC.com parent information session. We will have the scheduled dates for the sessions up on the website www.beingspecialnyc.com by January 15th. We try to meet in public library, community rooms, sometimes on city college campuses. So just keep your eye out, and we'd love for you to come to a parent information session. They're free. They're generally on Saturdays, sometimes in the evening during the weekdays, and it's an Ask the Expert kind of forum where you can just come in and you can ask any questions that you like about the New York City public school system, special education, general education, enrichment programs, anything of that nature, and we look forward to seeing you. Said, make sure that you contact BeingSpecialNYC.com and myself, Hazel Adam Shango, the founder and CEO. We can be reached by email at info@BeingSpecialNYC.com, by telephone 347-427-0828, or Twitter hashtag New York City NYC Ed Advocate, or on Facebook, Being Special NYC.